Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Power Sports Memorabilia Show. I am your host, Matt Powers. Thank you again for joining me. Please visit the website, powersportsmemorabilia.com. Also give me a follow over there on Instagram at Powers Autographs. All right, it's December 31st, 2021, and I was just thinking back on what is some of the biggest disappointments in the autograph industry in 2021. And there's always a bunch of them each year, it seems like. But this one really kind of stuck out to me, and I don't know what the solution is, and I don't know if it's going to fully come back. So it's got me a little concerned, I guess, for the retail customer. And one of the biggest disappointments has to be the lack of licensed photos that one can purchase. Now, as many of you know, Photofile closed down in 2020 after being in business for 33 years or so. And they were the main source for licensed photos. You could go to their website, and they had just a ton of selection on pretty much almost every player. Like, you could go there and find licensed photos for, say, Larry Bird. And they would have 10, 12, 15 different selections, and you could print them up in 8x10s, 11x14s, 16x20s. I think they even went bigger to 20x24s as well. So their selection was just incredible. And it was affordable pricing too. I think 8x10s were like $7-8 shipped for a high quality licensed photo. Now, yes, I know you people out there that like to print up your photos at home can do it way cheaper, but again, I always suggest doing a licensed photo because the quality of the autograph's going to be great. Plus, you're not breaking the law. We don't want to be doing that. So Photofile was the best option for that. But then they closed down. And that caused a lot of issues for something so simple, like just printing up a darn photo. It's not like we were, having issues making jerseys because we couldn't get the materials in or whatever, but it was just photos. So Fanatics attempted to kind of pick up where Photofile left off. And they do have a little bit of selection on their site, but not much. I don't know what percentage it is, but it's got to be like 1% of what Photofile had. It's just incredible how limited the selection is for licensed photos. And then in about October of this year or so, we ran into a paper shortage on printing up 16x20s. I was trying to get a couple of them for the Mike Trout signing, and Fanatics told me that they couldn't print them in 16x20 size. And I'm like, this is freaking America. What do you mean we can't print them in a 16x20 size? And they're like, well, there's a paper shortage. Like, what do you mean there's a paper shortage? I mean, there's freaking trees everywhere around here. This is crazy. Have you ever driven through Arkansas? Western Arkansas, northwestern Arkansas is pretty much forest. Like, there are literally hundreds of thousands of trees out there. So I was just shocked that a multi-billion-dollar company couldn't find paper to print up a 16x20 photo on. It just blew my mind. I mean, my gosh. So, I get, Fanatics tried to pick up a little bit where Photofile left off. And if you're a multi-billion-dollar company, printing off a $5 or $6 photo just isn't really all that sexy, right? Like, it's like you could spend your time and your resources on other things that can make you more money. So I totally get it. So I'm not 100% sure what the solution is, but we've got to be out there employing other printers out there to print up these photos. I mean, it's really not that hard. You got to find a nice company out there that can print these up, that's not going to steal your images. You give them the rights to print up, certain sports or whatever it is, and let's get some people out there printing these darn things up here. There's got to be somebody out there that can make this profitable and make this doable for the retail customer, the one that wants to just buy one photo to send it in for a signing. They like this particular image and they want to buy a licensed photo. They want a high quality image. They want to do it right. And obviously, Photofile going out of business after 33 years, there was probably some issues with that business. I mean, whether it's profitability, getting the licenses, who knows what the exact issues were. But So obviously there's some things that need to be tweaked in that business model. But we've got to get this fixed. I mean, you can buy retail jerseys out there. You got to be able to buy retail photos and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I just feel terrible for the customers that want to buy that ones and twosies and whatnot. Now, customers like me, if we want to go to, get something wholesale or whatnot, yeah, we can contact Fanatics and they can most likely print up pretty much most every image out there. They have the license and the ability to do that. So we can get bulk stuff like that. But for the ones and twosies for the customers out there, it's just not something that they seem to be interested in. And of course, one of the big issues is always licensing. God, licensing is such a pain in the butt. I mean, oh my gosh, it is just incredible how difficult this model is. I mean, my gosh, we're just printing photos up here. Like we're not asking to, take over your likeness and image here. We just want to print up a photo so we can get your autograph on there. It's just difficult, especially for retired players. They're just not part of any union anymore. So you've got to get in contact with them directly and get their approval for this, and then approval for the photographer, and then approval for this company. I remember I was trying to get a photo printed up for Scotty Thurman. So if you don't know who Scotty Thurman is, he hit the game-winning shot for the 1994 Arkansas Basketball National Championship game. Great player at Arkansas, very talented guy, and it's basically one of the biggest plays in Arkansas sports history. And there's a very awesome image out there of this shot. There's actually two of them, but there's one in particular, and I've had this one signed before. It is a Sports Illustrated shot. Now, if you don't know anything about licensing, Sports Illustrated is like the Gucci of photo printing. I don't know what their deal is, but to get this photo licensed recently, okay, I wasn't able to get it signed this time around with Scotty. I had to do a different photo. So I looked at getting this thing licensed. First off, Sports Illustrated really couldn't tell you a price. Like there was no firm price for it. It was a range, and the range to get this thing, just the license for it, was $3,000 to $5,000. And it just blew my mind. I was like what? Huh? I mean, no knock on Scotty. Scotty's great, man, but really any player, it's just one image here. Like this is not Ali knocking out listing here. I mean, I was like $3,000 to $4,000 plus the cost of printing on top of that. And I was just like, well, like, what is it? Is it $3,000 or is it $5,000? And they're like, well, we're not quite sure. We'd have to talk to the photographer. I'm like, what the heck is going on? This should be like $100 licensing fee, and let's print these up and get them in my hands here in about 2 weeks. That's the process that should be. So for you, the guys that were taking part in the Scotty Thurman autograph signing, that's why that photo wasn't available. The cost was like astronomical. Like by the time I printed all those things up, I could have bought a small plot of land in Arkansas. I mean, it was just insanity. I was like, I can't do this. I got to do a different photo. So, but anyway, that has to be the biggest disappointment in 2021. Has to be the lack of licensed photos out there to be able to purchase, not for dealers like myself, we can go out and purchase, photos like that, but for the retail customer. It's just people are always asking, do you have photos of this guy, photos of this guy? And I'm like, no, because I have to go out and buy a whole bunch of bulk. And I'd love to be able to point them to a website like I was able to do with Photofile and say, buy it right here and send it to me. Like they got all the options, they got all the sizes. Like that was the glory days of photos in the autograph industry. So yeah, man, I hope we get this thing fixed here. It's just really very, very frustrating that a country as talented as we are can't quite figure this photo printing thing up yet. So, or refigure it up here. So anyway, I hope you guys like the show. Again, visit the website powersportsmemorabilia.com. Also give me a follow over there on Instagram @PowersAutographs. And I will see you on the next episode.